history of the world, spurring nearly $500 billion in private sector investment. We've also significantly strengthened the defense industrial base, investing almost $1.3 trillion in procurement and research and development. In real dollars, that's more than America did in any four-year period during the Cold War. This is going to ensure that we're fully equipped to fight.
He just said that, oh, that was more than they did in any period during the Cold War. Okay, first off, are you taking on face value? Because $1.3 trillion today, after inflation, is a lot different than what it would have been in the 80s, 70s, 60s, when the Cold War was going on. I mean, are you adjusting for inflation, or are you just taking the flat numbers and like, oh, look, we did a bigger number? Because I don't know what the numbers are offhand, but if you're not accounting for inflation, then yeah, of course the number we have now is higher. You know, because back in those days, back in, let's say, the 60s, $1 billion meant a lot more than it does now. Granted, it's still a lot today, but, you know, it was a lot then. $1 billion then was probably like the equivalency of $1 trillion now. I don't mean for real, like with a inflation calculator. I just mean like the overall sentiment of that. You know what I mean? Like today we hear $1 trillion and it's like, wow, that's a lot. Where you hear $1 billion and you're like, yeah, there's tons of billionaires. It's not that special. So, you know what I mean? Like, are you apples to applesing it, or are you just an idiot face valuing it?
And win wars, which is also the best way to deter wars in the first place. Today, I can report to the American people, our alliances are stronger than they've been in decades. NATO is more capable than it's ever been, and many more of our allies are paying their fair share. Before I took office, 9 NATO allies were spending 2% of their GDP on defense. Now, 23 are spending 2%. And look at it.
Hold on a minute. Is this dickhead seriously trying to take credit for Trump initiatives? Like, are you serious right now? The reason that more countries are paying towards NATO is because of Trump when he was the president last time, and he pulled out of all these accords and deals and stuff and said, "Look, the U.S. isn't going to foot all your bills. You need to pitch in as well." And so that's why a lot of this would have happened. Like, is this moron seriously trying to take some of that thunder and act like it's his? Jeez, all he does is steal from Trump. This guy makes no sense. He's the first one to talk crap about him, and then he'll turn around and steal from him. Like, the other thing he loves to steal is the $35 insulin. That was Trump that started that. Then this idiot came into office, wrote executive orders, which got that canceled. Then, a couple of years later, turns around and, oh, I'm going to reinstate this. Oh, that's my thing. Oh, look what I did. You didn't do that. You just stole it. Just like this. You're seriously trying to steal the progress with NATO as your efforts? Okay. Additionally, I'm sure other countries might be pitching in just because of the whole Ukraine issue as well. Which, if you want to be real, the Ukraine issue is a result of a failure on your end. So don't be bragging too much, dick face.
The Pacific, we made partnerships stronger and created new partnerships to challenge China's aggressive behavior and to rebalance power in the region. We did it, what few thought was possible, to build the first ever trilateral partnership between the United States, Japan, and South Korea. Then another.
No, you know what really seemed impossible was actually having the United States be able to talk with North Korea like Trump did. Moron. That was way bigger of a thing than, we got a pact between Japan, South Korea, and the United States. South Korea and the United States are already friendly. In Japan, I wouldn't say that they're not friendly, but I feel like they're just neutral. It's not like it's some big achievement, like Trump going to North Korea. That was huge.
Among the United States, Japan, and the Philippines, drawing closer our Pacific allies to defend our shared security and prosperity. We brokered a defense pact known as AUKUS among the United States, Australia, and the United Kingdom, connecting the Atlantic and Pacific allies as only America is able to do. And we've taken the Quad to the next level, United States, Japan, Australia, and India. When we had that first meeting, I was dumbfounded when they all called and said, "Can we do this at your house?"
You're always dumbfounded because you're dumb.
I'm kidding.
Nobody thinks
My
you're
wife
kidding.
said, "No problem."
Stupid ass.
It was during the UN meeting, and we thought we were going to do it in New York, but they wanted to do it in Delaware. I said, "Why?" He said, "We can know, then people will know we're really friends." Our democracy, with vibrant economies, working closely, security, supply chains, technology, and so much more. In the Red Sea, we brought together more than 20 countries to protect civilian ships from attack by the Houthis, defending freedom of navigation, one of the world's busiest waterways. And we have strengthened partnerships all across the Americas, defending democracy, targeting corruption, addressing migration, increasing prosperity, and protecting Amazon rainforest, which captures billions of tons of carbon from the atmosphere every year.
All right, a couple things I want to talk about. First off, he said something about targeting corruption and stuff like that. Have you looked at yourself and your family, you know, all that crap that you've been up to with corruption? You know, Hunter getting a cut of some money with the Burisma deals and all that, and then giving you a slice of it. How about, I mean, this isn't really a corruption thing, but it's still a failure on your part. How about those classified documents that you just had hanging out in your garage? You know, you want to talk so much crap about Trump having them at Mar-a-Lago in secured, sealed, well, not sealed, but locked, secured rooms. Secured meaning because Secret Service and all that. And previously approved by the FBI before he even brought him to his place. You want to talk crap about that, but you got documents just hanging out in your garage, and that's fine, right? You want to talk about corruption. Also, on the topic of corruption, you do realize that you've been funding Ukraine like nobody's business, right? And that is / was one of the most corrupt countries in the world. So, yeah, you sure you know what you're talking about with corruption there, little dickhead? Then you go on to talk about the Amazon rainforests, and that's great and all. They should be protected and stuff. You know, it's good that they have those protections in place just for all that wildlife and all the just in general, you know, to keep that preserved. But you're talking about all the carbon that it removes from the air. Well, you know, how about your dumb Democrat cities, because you're a Democrat, so how about all your dumb Democrat-led cities actually, like, step up and stop allowing people to do stupid things, like, you know, start fiery but mostly peaceful protests. Or, you know, maybe figure out how to get your wildfires under control. You know, Gavin Newsom, he's doing such a great job at handling those in LA and stuff. You know, how about you get those under control? Then there's not all kinds of fire and smoke going up in the air and stuff. And then those trees don't have to work as hard to clean the air because, well, the air is already going to be clean. How about that, dick face?
Overall, we've reinvigorated people's faith in the United States as a true partner. Today, I can report...
Oh, yeah, I also forgot, as a side note, the Amazon rainforest, that's in Brazil, right? And isn't Brazil's leader, like, a pretty crappy individual? Like, he's either super corrupt or he's brutal to his people or something like that, right? He's not an ideal individual. You know, he's a low-tier leader. So, another funny aspect of how he's talking about, you know, acting like this is such a great thing. Oh, yeah, I've been working with Brazil... And we got the rainforest, and it's like, all right, do you even realize what you're doing? Stupid.
To the American people, our adversaries are weaker than were when we came into this job 4 years ago. Just consider Russia. When Putin invaded Ukraine, he thought he'd conquer Kyiv in a matter of days. But the truth is, since that war began, I'm the only one that stood in the center of Kyiv, not him. Putin never had.
So first off, you're talking about how your enemies have gotten weaker. Are you sure about that? I'm pretty sure the Taliban have gotten a lot stronger because you had a botched withdrawal from Afghanistan and ended up leaving behind tons of weapons and military vehicles and stuff. Now, the only saving grace is maybe the Taliban people don't know how to use those military vehicles, so those are kind of just sitting there, but they can figure out how to use those weapons. So you sure they're weaker? Now that they have all kinds of current issue U.S. military weaponry? Second, talking about Ukraine and allies getting weaker or whatever, enemies getting weaker because I was in the way in Ukraine and Kiev and Putin wasn't there, I was. And blah, blah, blah. Yeah, you know what else you've also done by interfering with that? You've caused a lot of lives to be lost. If you never interfered with that, it would have been done just as soon as it started. I mean, at the end of the day, when Putin invaded, he wanted to do something real quick. He wanted to get in, do something, get out. It literally would have been like a 2-day event. In, done, over. Then you had to go and interfere, and now it's been, what, a 2-year event? And it's costed a lot of lives on both sides. And it's also costed us a ton of money. Hundreds of billions of dollars, which most Americans don't support. I don't. I know a lot of people online don't either. There's a lot of F Ukraine things floating around, and I fully agree with that. I mean, Ukraine also is an extremely corrupt country. So now, it's like a money laundering scheme. You're probably laundering money through Ukraine. Zelensky's probably getting a massive cut. So that's, cool for him, getting a huge payday. And yeah, you're going to come up here and talk about it like it's so great. When what you should have done was just minded your business and stayed out of it. And it would have saved us tons of money, would have helped our national debt a little bit. And Zelensky wouldn't be getting rich off of us, meaning taxpayers.
Think about it.
Oh yeah, and then I was actually in Kyiv, but Putin wasn't. Ugh. Okay, Mr. Vacation, because that's another thing too. You've been on vacation nonstop. What is it? They said something like 40% of his presidency was on vacation. And I'm sure you saw going to Kyiv as a vacation as well. So, okay, cool.
A long train ride, but I'm the only commander-in-chief to visit a war zone not controlled by U.S. forces. We helped Ukrainians stop Putin. And now, nearly three years later, Putin has failed to achieve any of his strategic objectives. He has failed thus far to subjugate Ukraine, failed to break the unity of NATO, and failed to make large territorial gains. But there's more to do. We can't walk away. We rallied 50 nations to stand with Ukraine, not just in Europe, for the first time in Asia as well. Because those countries in Asia know what happens in Ukraine matters to them as well. We delivered air interceptors, massive numbers of munitions, enacted relentless, unprecedented sanctions to keep Ukraine in the fight. And now Russia is struggling to replace what they are losing on the battlefield in terms of military equipment and fighters. And the ruble is under enormous pressure. As I saw it, when Putin launched his invasion, I had 2 jobs. One, to rally the world to defend Ukraine, and the other is to avoid war between 2 nuclear powers. We did both those things. Today, Ukraine is still free, independent country with the potential for a bright future. And we laid the foundation for the next administration so they can protect the bright future of the Ukrainian people.
No, you know what the next administration is going to do? It's going to do things a proper way. Trump's going to come in, talk with Zelensky, talk with Putin, he's going to act as like a mediator, come up with a solution, and then boom, war's over. So instead of just funding it and allowing them to keep fighting and killing each other, he's going to just end it. Now there's no more need for funding. There's no more need for loss of life. Situation's over. Everything's resolved. And life on both sides can go back to normal. That's how you do it, dickhead. No, well, I'm just going to keep giving them money. And I'm going to act like this is such a smart maneuver. And everything's great. And I have no brain. Also, you keep talking about Ukraine and, they're still their own independent country and blah, blah, blah. And, Ukraine's been able to stop Russian forces. No, Ukraine's done what they've done because you keep wasting our resources and our money over there. which is just annoying because of all the stuff that's happened in this country that all of a sudden now money can't go to, apparently. Can't get any money to go help fight those fires in California. Couldn't help the people in North Carolina after the hurricane. Couldn't help the people in Maui. But, we can make sure we help Ukraine, though. But let's worry about another country instead of our own. Oh, hey, let's not worry about that border where tons of illegals are coming in, flooding our country, and killing people. Nah, let's not worry about that. Let's worry about Ukraine. Nobody cares about that. Especially when we have enough of our own issues over here going on. And then to try to stand there and talk about it like it's something great and brag about it, like, no, you idiot.
And now, look at Iran. Did you ever think we'd be where we are with Iran at this moment? After those despicable attacks by Hamas on October the 7th, Iran directly attacked Israel twice with hundreds of ballistic missiles and drones. And twice they failed because the United States organized a coalition of countries to stop them and ordered U.S. aircraft to come to the defense of Israel. Now, Iran's air defenses are in shambles. Their main proxy, Hezbollah, is badly wounded. And as we tested Iran's willingness to revive the nuclear deal, we kept the pressure with sanctions. Now Iran's economy is in desperate straits. All told, Iran is weaker than it has been in decades.
Here's the thing. Supporting Israel is a good thing. Helping them to destroy Hamas is a good thing. Israel should go through and absolutely obliterate Hamas. Because Hamas are just terrorists. They're not anything quality. They don't have a structure. They don't have... You know what I mean? They're just a bunch of idiots. They're terrorists, and terrorists just deserve to be wiped out. All of them do. You want to act like an idiot? Basically, a terrorist is like a global gang person. Gang. So, okay, see ya. Wipe them out. But, what I do want to say is, he's trying to talk about this like, oh yeah, we sent the airships and helped Israel. But, yeah, for the longest time, you didn't really want to admit that because your woke leftist groupies... They're all, free Palestine, it's a genocide, Israel, free Palestine. So you didn't want to upset them for the longest time. Oh, now it's okay, though. Why? Because you only got 6 days left, so you're like, whatever. I guess I don't really have to worry about my woke leftist base anymore. You should have always just been pro-Israel and told the stupid Hamas terrorist lovers, F you. You want to support a terrorist? We don't support you.
And if you want more evidence... If it was seriously weakened Iran and Russia, just take a look at Syria. President Assad was both countries' closest ally in the Middle East. Neither could keep him in power. Quite frankly, neither really tried very hard. Now, I cannot claim credit for every factor that led to Iran and Russia growing weaker in the past 4 years. They did plenty of damage all by themselves. But Israel did plenty of damage to Iran and its proxies. But there's no question, our actions contributed significantly. And now major authoritarian states are aligning more closely with one another. Iran, Russia, China, North Korea. But that's more out of weakness than out of strength. So as the new administration begins, the United States is in a fundamentally stronger position with respect to these countries.
Oh, trust me, it's going to get way stronger, too. I mean, countries are already starting to straighten out because they know what Trump's going to expect. They've had easy street with you. You've been so lackadaisical and stupid and doddering and on vacation all the time that they were like, pfft. It's like when your supervisor at work is out sick or something, or he's out on business and everyone else just kind of slacks off like, nobody's here to monitor us. That's what you were. Now all of a sudden, he's back. Now they got to straighten their backs out, work harder, because they know that somebody's watching them. And that's what a lot of these countries have done. They're already starting to straighten up like, They were hoping for Kamala because they knew that would be more weakness and incompetence, but instead Trump's back, so they're like, oh, God. We actually have our supervisor. We actually have somebody serious here that's going to keep us in line. So, yeah, you ain't got to worry about how things are going to be on a global scale. They're going to be way better than you could have ever achieved. So